bad.
And so I feel like I have an obligation to provide the most accurate details possible.
Whole armor? Yeah,
I would have never expected in a million years to have to tell the story that I'm about to tell, nor would I ever consider it appropriate if this were mere conjecture.
Yeah.
But at this point, these are no longer allegations.
Okay.
This has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be true.
I'm gonna just reframe it real quick so you guys can see the
And the truth must be told. The voters have a right to know. And that is why, for the sake of the district, the party, and the country, Tony Gonzalez should step down. I'll start from the beginning.
Well, how do we know
Regina
he did
Santos Aviles
This is a
was
girl.
a regional director for Texas 23rd Congressional District, Congressman Tony Gonzalez. She was originally from Uvalde and had served prior running the Uvalde Chamber of Commerce. From everyone that I've spoken to and from every account that I've been able to find, she was beloved by the community, took great pride in her work. She joined Tony's staff in November of 2021 and dedicated the rest of her life to serving the district, including her hometown of Uvalde, with various issues that the district was facing. But on September 13th, 2025, first responders were called to her home after an alleged suicide via self-immolation, where she was declared dead the next day from her injuries.
What the
She left
fuck?
behind her husband and an 8-year-old son. Several
Who
days.
the fuck does that? That's insane. And she's 35. And she had like a husband and kid?
After the fact, when asked, Tony said that he was, quote, heart-stricken at the news of her passing.
Yeah.
He did not attend the funeral. Immediately after, a multitude of media sources, such as Current Revolt, asked a number of questions, including whether or not Tony and Regina were involved in a romantic relationship.
Interesting
Tony
question.
Gonzalez's office responded to every inquiry except the latter. All records were then sealed by Uvalde PD, from police reports, the autopsy, to any mention of Regina and Tony. This fed speculation, and multiple publications started reporting.
Texas congressman accused of affair who died from himself on fire. What the fuck? This is nuts.
On the alleged affair
Who
between
does
Tony
this?
and Regina. This would be a bombshell, as Tony is a married man with 6 children.
Yeah.
And often uses his appearance as a family man for his public image. It would also be completely against house ethics rules, subject to an investigation.
Well, I don't know. I think that, like, I mean, if you cheat on your wife and you're running for Congress with another chick that is a subordinate of yours, and then things don't go well and she lights herself on fire, I think that's pretty bad. I do. I think that one's a pretty bad one. Yeah.
Tony, of course, avoided any public scrutiny, including running away from multiple reporters.
Multiple media outlets have reported that you had an affair with Regina Santos Aviles. Is there any response you have to that?
We're here at Fort Sam. We're here at Fort Sam Unit at the ceremony. Please have some respect.
I understand, but veterans fought for my right to ask you questions.
Hey, how are you doing?
He also canceled all media appearances and banned journalists and reporters from any of his future events.
What the fuck? Wait, what?
All of this came to a head a few months later, where for the first time, after no hard evidence had come out, Tony officially denied the affair.
The rumors are completely untruthful. I also say it's like, I don't know exactly what happened.
Which, as we will soon find out, was a complete bold-faced lie.
Wait,
but at this point,
wait, what? So he said basically, so for a while he never commented on it, then he comes out and he says it didn't happen.
Concrete evidence and an official denial of the affair, the story more or less died for a couple of months.
Yeah,
that
I
was at
remember
least until early February, where a former Tony staffer from Uvalde who worked hand in hand with Regina for 2 years for the congressman decided to risk potential repercussions and come forward. Not only did he have his personal account of Regina telling about the affair with Tony, but he also brought forward screenshots of Regina admitting to the affair, specifically texting the staffer, and I quote, "I had an affair with our boss," obviously referencing.
They defame me. It's really bad. I had to go to the wedding of my friend. Everyone already knew the accusation threw at me. It sounds so fucked up, but Haley's not even hot. She needs to calm down. I promise you, just hold your head high. The office doesn't know about anything about it. They're going to find out. I have your back 100,000%. I know I'll be fine. I'm not afraid of that. What the fuck?
Obviously referencing Tony. He even told about the facilitation of his family cabin for Tony, which he only later found out was used for extramarital activities.
What the
After
fuck?
this news started to break, Tony continued to double down and deny any wrongdoing, despite for the first time, material evidence is starting to come forward. Now, at this point in the story is where, unfortunately, I get involved. In Tony's denial, he blamed me for his actions, saying it was my fault that a, quote, disgruntled former staffer was given a voice and that he wouldn't engage in personal smears, which is
That's convenient whenever it's him that's getting smeared. That's very convenient.
considering the same person who is now condemning personal smears ran an entire campaign last cycle personally smearing me.
Yeah. Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
But what I find most interesting...
Now they're walking around with hoods, and it used to be at night, and now it's in the daytime. They're doing it like now in the day. Yeah, because it's like remember the KKK? Remember that? Yeah.
is that now faced with proof,
Idiot.
he condemns me and the staffer who came forward with evidence while refusing to deny the claims that have been made.
Oh.
And now, the bombshell. In the last week, Regina's husband has stepped forward. Not only was he personally willing to confirm the affair,
Wait a second.
Regina's husband...
She was texting Tony. Adrian Abeles says he couldn't bear to see married congressman duck responsibility for having an affair with his wife. Abeles says he wants accountability. What the fuck?
Step forward. Not only was he personally willing to confirm the affair, but he went on to go and tell his side of the story that he was keeping private out of concerns for his son.
Oh my God.
Which is completely understandable, but now with the evidence that is coming forward from former staffers, he stepped forward to set the record straight.
What is it? What did he say? Said he was speaking out now because he wants their 8-year-old son to know. He tried to protect his mother's reputation. Oh, that's so sad.
He also came forward with text messages from Regina's phone, confirmed by forensic software.
See, that's what I would have wondered, right? It's like, because couldn't you immediately know whether that's true or not? Because you just find out from the text messages.
Showing that not only was Tony involved in a sexual relationship with Regina, but that he pressured her into it from a position of power.
No way! And it's, dude, wait. So this is her saying, this is going too far, boss. So how long have you thought I was hot? What the fuck? This is too far, Tony. Go to sleep? Are you sure you're sober?
With her even mentioning several times that he was going too far, and even at one point asking if he was sober. These are only a handful of texts that have been put forward of what I'm told are thousands of texts.
Surely.
Between Regina and Tony. Keep in mind, this is a married congressman with 6 children talking to a married female subordinate.
Right.
From Tony to Regina. Then send me a sexy pic.
Wow. The thing is, like, stuff like this is... Like, it happens, and it's, like, a lot of times it's harmless. But I bet the way this ended is the real problem. Like, somebody cheating on their wife with a staffer is obviously really bad. But whatever happened here led this woman to set herself on fire. Very clearly, something dramatic was wrong.
Regina says, I swear my life has been a telenovela for the past 7 days. You really don't want a hot picture of me. Tony says, yes, I do.
Yes,
Hurry. She asks,
Jesus,
is this a test?
What's so crazy about this is, like, these text messages and this conversation, this is like, have you ever taken, like, an HR training program? And it's like, Bill says that, Kathy's breasts look extra large today. Did Bill sexually harass Kathy? Like, it's like this super obvious shit, like everybody knows. It's like straight textbook. Do you think she set herself on fire with the family being left behind? I think it's possible that she did because it was being used as blackmail, or it would be used as reputation destruction towards her. and she felt like she had no other way out. I mean, do I think that they set her on fire? I mean, it's possible, sure, and I think it should be investigated by the police, but that's not the first conclusion that I would make.
Later she says, "No, I just don't like taking pictures of myself," to which he replies,
Yeah.
"I'm just such a visual person."
I'm just such a... This is all from a fucking congressman? Oh my god.
He then goes on to ask her favorite position.
Favorite position.
She asks, "Yours first," and then goes on to ask, "So is this why you're quiet around me sometimes, because you think I'm hot?"
Oh god.
He responds to this by saying, "On top, pinning your legs." To
Oh,
which
boy.
she then pumps the brakes and says, "This is going too far, boss. So how long have you thought I was this hot?"
This is...
He says, "What do you like?" And then answers, "Since you worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Uvalde." And then following up on that, reminder, this is a married congressman to a married subordinate. He asks, "Anal?"
Jesus, man. See, this is the kind of stuff that, and people need to, like, I think it's good that we're watching this, right? Because, like, we always talk, like, I spend a lot of time talking about how, you know, every problem is because of a woman, right? But the reality is that there's a reason why a lot of women hate men, and it's because situations like this are disturbingly more common than you might imagine. There are little Epsteins inside of every power dynamic almost all around the entire world. This is happening in China, it's happening in Russia, it's happening in Africa, it's happening in America, it's happening in Sweden, it's happening everywhere. And the problem is that it's important to look at these people and hold these people accountable. These are very clear and very obvious bad actors. And the problem is that sometimes, because there are people that make fake accusations, there's people that exaggerate things, etc., that we throw the baby out with the bathwater. These instances do happen, and they happen with a disturbing amount of regularity. And it's important to keep that in mind. If you talk to 5 attractive women on the internet, you'll get 20 stories about stalkers.
She replies, "Never." The texts then, from this point, lead to them arranging to meet up at the cabin. That then gets picked up by the story that the other former
She
staff...
never shut him down. She obviously shut him down. She shut him down 2 or 3 times. Any reasonable person who is not a creep and a weirdo would have immediately stopped pursuing this person the moment they said, "This is going too far, boss." That's crazy. What do you mean she never shut him down? She said she didn't want to send him a picture. She said no like 3 times. What are you talking about?
I told.
She kept responding though. This man. I'll pull you up real quick. Would you want your daughter to have a job like this and be treated this way towards a boss? Would you want this to happen to your daughter? Really simple question. This is her fucking boss, exactly. Of course. You'd want this to no, of course. Oh, no, of course. Okay, so then why are you defending it? Why are you trying to rationalize? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why you would try to rationalize it in that case. Like, if you know that it's problematic and bad, why would you even say that? You got your element, Donnie? I have no frame of reference for situations like this? Well, let me get this straight. Like, and this is the thing. Like, I really want to understand, like, how anybody could think this is okay to do. I'm out of my element. What do I not understand here? She could have just said, "This is too far. I'm done talking." She can't say, "I'm done talking." There's a power dynamic, and he's her boss. She can't do that. I don't think that there's a problem. Like, she passively said no 3 times. She literally said. She said no. Like, she literally said this. I don't think you understand how this works. Can't she quit? Can't she quit? Yeah, she can quit. Yes. Mixed messages? What is this here? Mixed messages. Huge mixed messages? It's not mixed messages. Anybody, listen, if this is sending you, it's a big gray area with a lot of variables. The right decision is very obvious from an outside perspective, but in the trenches, reality is different. Give me a universe where this is normal. Whenever, let me explain. Where is the universe where when a person says this is too far,
Bravo!
you keep going, and that's good?
Bravo, Bog te mazo, pa hoćeš prestat pucati.
Whenever somebody says stop doing this, basically, this is too far, boss.
Jebote, sunce, znači, ček, ne prestaje. Full 1400 helta skinu. Ne, 1200.
What is this?
Da sam blokirao samo 300 jebeni.
I know that. You're out of your own.
Hoće li ko sada spotati ovdje, Bog vas jebo?
I'm in my 30s. Of course I know the Big Lebowski. You're purposely ignoring the how long have you thought I was this hot for? No, I'm not purposely ignoring it. Because she could be asking that as a frame of reference for how long has he been like treating her differently because he thought that she was attractive.
Bog te jebo, debilane. Bog te jebo i tenka retardiranoga, znači... Ne smisla, znači, medium heavy nadjebe, izjebe i probuši, znači ne jebe 2%.
Okay, let me give you a bit of advice. You're not a cat, she's not a mouse. If a girl tells you no, just stop. Just stop. And way, way more importantly, when you are her boss, you should definitely not even start. Like, I don't even see how this is a question. How do you possibly imagine that this is the right decision? She says, I don't want to send you a photo. I don't like sending photos. This is going too far. She turns him down 3 times. And you're trying to act like this is a cat and mouse game? Get the fuck out of here. This is insane. What are we doing here? You're trying to add any blame on this woman. Bro, she had like multiple fucking kids. She had a husband as well. She's getting pressured by this man that's in a position of power. He's a congressman. And if she tells him no, he could destroy her career. He could do other things that were bad to her as well. Not to mention some other maybe weird shit that, like, I mean, who knows whether that would happen. It's the cops? Yeah, sure. Go get the cops involved. Turn your entire life upside down. Lose your job. Have all of these things happen. The reality is that a lot of women deal with very passive flirting from men in positions of power, and they brush it off, and I think that's generally fine. I don't even think it's a big deal if your boss flirts with you once. But it is when it's happening 3 or 4 times. When it's going on as an ongoing issue. That's the big difference. It's not the fact that it happened. It's the fact that it didn't stop. You're not a PlayStation. Don't let people play games with you.
došao da spota.
I agree with you, but it's oversimplifying the dynamic. That you're rational actors. Nobody's rational in situations like that. Really? Whenever a girl has ever said no to me, I've just immediately been like, okay, I'm done. I feel like that's the way most people do. Oh, okay. All right, yeah, that's fine. Understandable. Have a nice day. If you can't do that, you're an animal. And an animal doesn't belong in society. If you can't control your urges, and inside of a conversation, you are unable to accept, respect, and listen to other people who are giving you or rescinding consent from a conversation, if you can't do that, and especially if that carries over into real life, and you physically act on those urges, you need to be put in a cage
pogodi
because
kako
that's what
treba,
we do in the
jebem
universe.
ti.
That's exactly it, and it's really just that simple. Anybody
Zašto
that can't
ciljaš
control
dole,
their
Bog te
urges
jebo?
has to be put in a cage. We can't have a world where we have people that can't control their ages or their what do you call it?
Jebem ti sunce.
Such a delusional rich boy take. It's not a rich boy take at all. Yes. And so what is this? I'll look at a few more. Let me just real quick. I'll read just your replies. And how many times does she need to ask? How long did you think I was hot? Because that's the reason she asked. Probably. She fucked him in the cabin, bro. Oh, really? She had sex with him in the cabin. Wow. And what was that, after or before he probably pressured her into doing that 10 times, like in the text messages? Excuse me, millionaire. What does this have to do with money, by the way? Are you saying that, like, you shouldn't respect consent if you you shouldn't respect consent if you're poor? You think poor people can't respect consent? I don't understand your logic here. How does that make sense? What is
Zašto ciljaš dole, Bog te jebo, pa nemoj na zid ciljati.
I'm just, I don't...
Debilana.
You have no idea the relationship that they have?
Ma ja bolan, debil. Pa normalno će biti 0,5. Ja ako tebe uspijem pogoditi, znači ja idem odmah da se utopim posle toga.
That's obvious. And with those 2 points on the graph, I can draw a line.
I ako ne uspijem, to znači idemo. Da vidimo da li ću sustići.
I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna ban this guy. What a weirdo. What a weirdo. Weird guy.
Normal da neću. Ćao, zdravo. Ma jebote, Bog te jebo, debilno. Znači, niko na jebenu sredinu nije otišao. Niko jebeni majmuna.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. It's a great idea. And income as preferences, yeah, the actual incels, yeah. Are people actually taking a congressman's side on this? All these people? Tony, is that you in chat? Yeah, Tony's voters in chat. No, I think that really, I mean, and here's the reason why. I cover a lot of issues, and I generally, like 99 times out of 100, take the male side of things.
Znači,
because that's the
prvi,
that I generally talk
pa
about.
iskustvo.
But there are these instances where something like this happens, and I think that you have to understand that there are a lot of women that do have these really negative experiences.
Da vidimo šta
like,
ćemo tamo.
Basically, every girl that I know has had one of these negative experiences.
It's
like a crazy ratio. Like, I mean, I really, like, I mean, like, go talk to, like, I don't know, your sister, your girlfriend, or, you know, your maybe wife, right? Something like that. Many of them have had these things happen. Well, at least one, right? Yeah, it's extremely common. It's much more common than you would imagine. And in a lot of cases, it is men that will not take no for an answer. And at the end of the day, this is the question I would ask. Would you want your daughter to be getting pursued by a much older man who is aggressively sexually pursuing her as her superior inside of a work situation, and then not listening to her, like not giving consent, and continuously pushing her for that? Bro, that's the kind of shit that you want to get your shotgun for. That's the kind of shit that, like, back in the day, you would fucking shoot somebody for. Like, you'd duel them over this, or you'd shoot them in a saloon. Like, what are we even talking about? That this is any way acceptable behavior, even in the slightest. It's disgusting. Nobody should accept this. No civilized Western society should accept this type of behavior at all. We're not talking about flirting. We're not talking about, you know, a harmless joke. We're talking about repeated, continuous sexual advances from a position of power that ignore consent as a boss. That's crazy. Nobody should be accepting this. That's third world behavior. That's third world behavior that animals do.
Where he unwittingly set up an extramarital affair.
No, that's his first world behavior.
These texts and the confirmation of a long denied...
What if it's my teacher and I'm homeschooled? Why don't you shut the fuck up, all right?
Boss and his friend. These texts and the confirmation of a long denied affair have sparked national outcry.
Good.
Local state rep West Verdell has called for Tony to step down, while members of Congress have either asked for him to suspend his campaign or even outright resignation. And over the last...
I don't agree with that. I think that there should be a criminal investigation and figure out whether his pressuring led to her killing herself. And I think that there should be criminal charges that follow that if it's found that that's the case. And they should subpoena and go through all of the communications between the two of them. Because if that is true, and this guy abused his position as a congressman, this is a person that is supposed to be working for us, right? If you're abusing your position And not only, like, I mean, listen, like, guys do this regularly, but this led to somebody killing themselves. Somebody killed themselves. You can't have this happen. It breaks the trust with the public. It's misconduct. It's gross misconduct, to say the least. Not even sure those are actual texts. We've never seen texts look like this. I'm sure her husband's making the whole thing up.
Zapali ga, Bog te mazo.
It is all alleged at the end of the day. But yeah, I think at the criminal investigation, you know, we'll see what happens.
Days, their complaints have made nationwide news, including reaching the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, why should Tony Gonzalez resign, given these very serious accusations?
There are serious accusations, and it must be taken seriously, and I've told him he's got to address that with his constituents.
It has also come out that the House Ethics Committee has launched its own investigation.
It's got to be more. It's got to be criminal investigation with the FBI. Like, this is the kind of stuff, like, this is basically an Epstein case. It is. Like, this is a man of a high privilege and high position of power that's exercising it over a woman, and he's using his position of power to maintain, basically, freedom. Like, you have to, what's the crime? Whenever you mistreat and you abuse somebody to the point that they kill themselves, sometimes you can be held liable for that.
At this point, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tony Gonzalez is guilty of an extramarital affair and lying to his family, the press, and the people. Of abusing a position as a member of Congress for sexual misconduct and wrecking a home to the degree that a young woman is now dead. Up to this point, my campaign against Tony has been relying solely upon the issue.
Whatever they can do.
Problem that I have and his voters have with his voting record. But this goes beyond that now. It is now irrefutable that Tony Gonzalez is a wicked man and must be removed. Now, next week on March 3rd...
Well, here's the question, right? What do you think the probability is that this affair led to her killing herself? I mean, like, I would assume that it's like, if I had to bet on it, I'd bet that's the case.
Voters will have the opportunity to have their voices heard. But as we've seen, this goes far beyond politics.
Or at least was a
While
huge
Tony might
contributing
rightfully
factor.
lose his job, a husband and son are still grieving a wife and mother.
Yeah, it's sick.
So right now, while I have your attention, I'd like to ask you to help me.
And also, like, keep in mind, too, it's like people don't really think about this, but also it's his wife, Tony's wife, and his kids. Like, I mean, they had nothing to do with this, and it's awful that, like, this is happening to them. It is, and, like, he's fucking up his own family, too. They're all victims.
Help the family that Regina left behind. In the past few days, I've had the privilege of speaking with Regina's husband, and with his permission, we've set up a GoFundMe to help with the family, and specifically to set something aside for the son. He seems like a great kid with a promising future, and we'd like to help them with that as much as possible. And Tony's made it clear he's not only not going to help the family, but instead he's going to go
I will not be blackmailed. Okay.
Offensive and attack them. So anything our community can do would be greatly appreciated, I'm sure.
Surely.
So there's no sponsor on this video. There's no asks, nothing other than please help us to help a young boy face a future without his mother.
That's
and
sick.
Lastly, to Ernest Anthony Tony Gonzalez. Hasn't this gone far enough for you? When this all started, my only qualms with you were your voting record. 2 years ago, when I lost that election, we sat down like men. You shook my hand, you looked me in the eyes, and you promised me things would be different. I was genuinely horrified to find out what kind of man I shook hands with that day. And weird. Unlike the smears you've done on me, you'll find that nothing I've said in this video was taken out of context. These are simply your words and your actions. This is your last chance to be a man and take some accountability. Step down. For the sake of the country, for the sake of Texas, for the sake of common decency.
Yeah, it's gross. If that's true, bro, like, yeah. It's so gross. No, he's totally right about this. He's completely fucking right. I mean, like, the kind of shit that's like, I mean, bro, especially like this, dude, listen to this again.
Their campaign last cycle personally smearing me.
Link the video.
Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
But what I find most interesting is that now faced with proof, he can...
The way he talks, bro, he talks like a retard. Yeah, this is definitely the kind of guy that would be like, oh, anal? Yeah, absolutely, bro. What a fucking retard. So,
Yeah,
dudes
but
over
with
at White Range
balls.
trying to draw on Epstein. Yeah, I guess you're just a snowflake cosplaying rap now. Yeah, it's nuts, man. And absolutely.
3 jelca, bog te jebu.
Child, yes, definitely.
3 jelca, 2 jelca.
What is this?
Šta je ovo?
There's a lot of people that are mad about this. It's really surprising to me to see how much pushback I'm getting from certain people in the chat. What about this do you think is the difference in a woman and a
Kaki
child?
su ovo timovi?
What about this is problematic to you? What do you think this is? You think this is a good thing? I'm just a little bit confused by this. And yeah, there are a lot of miniature Epsteins all over the country. There are men in positions of power that exercise that power over young women, and then in the process of doing so, they then control them and use them for their own purposes, and then after that's over, they move on to the next one. This is very, very common. Like there are many of these people. I'm not justifying. It's just a pretty serious jump to Epstein. Well, that's why I said a miniature version, right? I mean, if you want to argue about like Epstein, about it not being Epstein, I don't really care about that. That's not really a point that I really want to make. It's not relevant here. But like overall, I think that we have a country full of these miniature Epsteins, right? If you think that, oh no, you should say it's like Harvey Weinstein and not Epstein, I don't care, fine, call it whatever you want. But the end result is not the vocabulary, it's the action. The action is the problem. And
malo sam se zajebao.
That are behaving in this way, and it's awful. And so that's the main issue that I have. It's worldwide, bro, it is. It's totally worldwide. And I'm glad to see Brandon making a video about this. I really am. I'm going to link it to you guys again. I think this kind of stuff is important. It absolutely is. So yeah, I have 5 nieces. This shit's terrifying. Travis and Tony are crazy. I think that here's the problem: is that a lot of guys, it's the same thing that some people do with women. Is that whenever a woman makes an accusation, there are a lot of other women that just automatically believe the accusation and just go along with it without any sort of critical evaluation whatsoever. They just say, you know what, you're so right, you're right about everything, this is so true, and everything else. And so in the same way that you have people that immediately agree with it, you have people that also immediately disagree with it. And I think that you should look at the facts, you should look at the reality, in-group bias. Yes, exactly. And so that's it.
Opa!
Jeff started exactly like this. Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, a lot of people like Tony, theoretically, right? I mean, again, this is all, you know, a certain degree alleged, but it seems like it's true, is that a lot of people like him build up power. Do you really think this is his final form?
Fuck
to
me.
The extent that a
Fuck
person
me.
like this maintains and consolidates
Čekajte,
power,
još malo,
they will
majmuni.
continue to do this even more. That's what happens with any of this stuff.
Bog te jebu.
And so on. Yeah, exactly. And like this is the issue, is that like women have this happen, men have it happen. It's extremely common. So do we only treat women like adults with agency or in certain situations? I think that it's important to look at, so like for example, I'll pull this one up and then I want to move on because we've been going on about this for a while. So, so she's not wicked for betraying her own family, right? I think that it was bad that she did that, but I think that it should be taken into account the person who has the position of power and who's exercising that position of power in a way that could be problematic for her.
A ona uvijek može da to riješi. Kaže mužu.
And people in general, there are people in general that feel like they are compelled into a certain behavior because if they don't engage in that behavior, then that person, like, let me give you a parallel, right? This doesn't have anything to do with, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with like men and women, but in certain countries and in certain cultures, there's a pressure that certain people, and like even in America, certain companies put on people to drink alcohol socially for things. And if you do that and somebody becomes an alcoholic and you keep pushing them, you know, even though they're an alcoholic and they're trying to not drink, and you're pushing them to go out to drinks with you, at a certain point, that person is kind of at least being a piece of shit, right? Like, we want to talk about accountability. It's hard to say whose fault anything is, but can we at least talk about whether somebody's being a piece of shit or not?
Sam ja stavio ovdje, nisam ništa stavio. Sam stavio turbači, sam stavio bog jebo.
Whenever a person who has a position of power is exercising it over a person who doesn't, and they're making and compelling that person to do something that they don't want to do, this is fundamentally an abuse. It is a manipulation, and it's bad faith behavior. And I don't think anybody should be drawing a excuse or anything else to that. It's unwanted peer pressure. Let's up those numbers. Yeah, not a good thing to do. I'll read one more comment. I want to move on. These people arguing instantly shut down whenever you look back, and it's her literally asking him if she's being tested early on in the text. Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that if women, we're not disagreeing about this dude being a scumbag. I know that, but what I'm saying is that you're saying it takes two to tango, and what I'm saying is that when the guy leading the dance is your boss and a congressman in a high position, he's gonna make you tango.
Yo.
And if you don't tango, you lose your job, and you potentially can't take care of your family.
Ajoj, pušione. Pa Bog te jebo, prebaci mu, mater mu prebaci. Da, jebote, Bog napravi nešto damage-a, nemoj mi tu govor da ne može ništa da se sjebe. Debilane, debilana jebena. Ajde, Ru, dođi vamo, opići me jednom eksplozivnom, rastoči me. Jer neću da otkrijem položaj za sada. 40 sekundi i Bog te jebo. Da vidimo, da li su vidjeli ljudi ili nisu. Ko ima dovoljno brz da sustigne me? Ru 251, samo što on majmun otišao tamo, nije došao dole. Da vidimo da li ćemo uspjeti sada završiti. Naravno da hoće se. Debilana, debilana, heavy, otišli, Bog te jebo. na svoju neku stranu, umjesto ovdje da se tuču sa njihovima. Vidite sunce što se iskrivilo. Ajmo završiti do kraja i da idemo. Tako, ote, sunce 6, dvojicu je čovjek se li sjebu. Idemo, završimo to i ćao, zdravo. I onako idem na američki da igram više malo. Baš me zanima, jel ovo? Mislim da je vrijeme da se gasi, možemo naći nešto drugo. Šta ćemo koristiti umjesto njega? Ništa, i ovo je pušio ona partija. Bravo. Bravo ja. Bravo. Dečak, gdje si ti krenuo? O, dečak! Ma de bog te jebo! De spusti još! Vidio na, tamo dvojica uopšte ne gledaju ovdje. Pa jebem ti, boga ti jebem, pa jebo te bog i... Depresija, bog te jebo. Majmuni jedni, pa gledaj vamo pičkava, materna debilna. Čovjek, bog te jebo, spusti više nego što ja ikada sam mogao s tim tenkom. Pa jebote bogi heavy tanki, 230 penetracije. Jebote sunce kalajsano. Hoć šta probiti pičke materne? Ma jebem ti bogati, jebem pa... Jebem ti majmunčine jedne debilne. Jo jebote sunce, znao sam da će biti pušiona, ali ne ovako, bog te jebo, da ja... Ne mogu ništa jebeno da napravim. Jebem ti sunce kalajsano, da ti jebem. Ti jebem mater usranu, da ti jebem popis detine. Pa što s ove strane? Što s ove jebene strane? Gledaj lajta, bog te jebo. Gledaj medijuma, pičke materine, retardirane. Jao, direktan pogodak. Ma jabola, znači sad kad bi ovo pogodio, to bilo fantazija. Jebena debilana, bog te jevo. Stan 3 sekunde. A nemoj, šta me jebeš tu? Tako, prebaci ga pičke materne, prebaciš mu ga. Jebem ti sunce, ti jebem i granate i artiljeriju i sve. A jebote bo, pa nemoj me jebavati, znači da ne možeš da pogodiš. Nemoj sada ići, gdje ćeš? Vidi ovo. Evo te, Bog te jebo retardiranoga. Evo te sunce. Mrš u pičku materinu, jebo te, Bog te jebo. Da te jebo retardiranoga. Sad me ovdje zanima je se nabio onoga išta. Jao, 929. A ja sam ga i nabio, Bog te mazo. Fuck off. Dobar, dobar, nema šta. Što nisam sve komandira razbio? $560 cviling. Sad mi nije jasno gdje je on to nabio. Eno je dole rupa. Evo te, Bog, ne možeš da vidiš. Kamera je limitirana, ne možeš okružiti. Gdje je to jedna, gdje je druga uletla? Ajde više, sruši ga u pičku materinu. Bah! Pa prebaci svoje materije malo, znači jebote sunce i prebacivanje. Ajde više zatvori to jebote sunce, znači sruši ga. A, Motion je pobjegao. Bravo! Bravo! Goni u pičku maternu debilnu, znači jebo im bog mater debilne. Jes to debilno, Motion, znači ne zna šta će, ne može, pobježe. Mrš!